Hey, what's up, everyone? Morey here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 100-meter favorites for the World Championships this upcoming weekend in Tokyo. Very excited to be able to watch the race. I think there's a lot of great competition, especially on the men's side. I mean, really on the women's and the men's side, but with the women's, I already made a video about it. I think it's a little bit more predictable what we're going to see when it comes to the finish. Melissa Jefferson and Julian Alfred, I think, are the two primary favorites. Where with the men's, I think there's a lot bigger questions when we look to see how the race ended up last year. That was so close. We have Noah Lyles coming in first. We have Kishane Thompson coming in second, 979. Fred Curley right there, 981. He's obviously not competing this season. 982, Akani Simbine, who's having a really good year. Lamont Jacobs, 985. 986, Letsili Tebogo, who ended up winning the 200 meters. So there's a lot of close people here. I still think that, Oblique Seville is having a great season this year. We think that Kishane Thompson's probably the favorite, with him being able to run 975 and really have multiple very high-level runs this season. But Oblique Seville has also done really well, 984, 983. Even Brian Lovell's been pretty good this season, even though I don't know if he actually made it. I think it's going to be Akeem Blake is going to be the third representation from Jamaica. I wouldn't be surprised if we have 3 U.S. finalists and 3 Jamaican finalists. So 3 Jamaican being Kishane Thompson, Oblique Seville, and Akeem Blake. The men's finalists would be Kenny Bednarek, Noah Lyles, I think would be the obvious 2. And then we could definitely see Courtney Lindsay. We could definitely see Tamars McCollum. Either one of those guys can make it. And really, we could have 4 from the U.S. very easily. But I would assume it's going to probably be 3. It'll probably be Courtney Lindsay, Kenny Bednarek, and Noah Lyles, in my opinion. But Tamars McCollum did really, really good in the U.S. trials, so it could definitely be him as well. And it's just really impressive to see how good of a job Jamaica does at just consistently putting out top athletes. Obviously, USA, it's a little bit more expected just because we're such a big country and have so many athletes that compete in sprinting. And so the fact that Jamaica is such a small country, especially compared to the U.S. or really the rest of the world. I mean, you compare them to Europe, and it's just crazy how many more people from Jamaica, or even the rest of Africa. Like we have Ghana here with Abdul Rashid Saminu. We also have Hani Simbine, which we talked about before. And then we also have Bayanda Walaza. We have Ajay here from Nigeria, but there's just not very many people from Africa in general. Obviously, there's Ferdinand Omanyala as well from Kenya, but and then even if you compare it to like Britain or Europe, Jamaica is way smaller than Europe, but still consistently has way more people. Zarnell Hughes is obviously a big one here from the Great Britain, but a lot of people talk about how he has a lot of Jamaican roots, and then even Jeremiah Azu, kind of similar thing, 997, and so. Again, really impressive to see how many high-level sprinters that we see coming out of Jamaica. And so with that being said, the final being the 3 Jamaicans, 3 from the U.S. There still needs to be 3 more people. I do think Letsili Tebogo, even though he hasn't posted a super good time yet this season, I think he'll also be able to make it into the final. So that's going to be the 7th. I do think that, I'm always a big fan of Ferdinand Omanyala. I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to make it, which would make it so there's 8, but it would be tough with some of the competition. That's why this season just so interesting, because I think Zarnell Hughes is going to make it. I also wouldn't be surprised if Akani Simbine, because he's having such a great year, if he also is able to make it. But even, you look at Abdul Rashad Saminu. So it's tough to say who's going to be in the top 9, who's going to make it to the finals there. I do, again, think it's going to be 3 Jamaicans. I think it's going to be 3 people from the U.S. I think it's going to be Letsili Tebogo. I do think it's going to be Zarnell Hughes as well. So, and then the last one, I'm going to give it to Akani Simbine just because he's just been having a great season all year. I couldn't see him not making the finals. So those are going to be the 9 guys to me. And then the person who I think is going to end up winning it this season is going to be Kishane Thompson. I think he's going to run low 9.7s. He might even get in the 9.6s. I just don't see Noah Lyles being able to get into the 9.6s. I could see Oblique Seville being able to get kind of low in there. Kenny Bednarek, I don't think he's going to get, be able to get much more than like 9.7, somewhere in there, mid 9.7s. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if Oblique Seville ran, mid 9.7s. Kishane Thompson ran low 9.7s to high 9.6s. This is assuming that there's really optimal weather. So there's not a lot of rain. That's what we had in the Olympics. There's rain that was happening, so that kind of impacted the finals, in my opinion. And that's also assuming that it's going to be a wind legal time. Obviously, if there's more wind, we may even see a lower time from Kishane Thompson. But I think he's primed and ready to go 9.7, sub 9.7 for the first time in his career. I wouldn't be surprised if Noah Lyles is up there in the top 3. But to me, it might be Kishane Thompson at first, and then Oblique Seville at second, and then Noah Lyles coming in third. But it's hard to count out Noah Lyles. I do, I almost feel bad about doing it just because you've just seen him be able to execute at the highest levels on the biggest stages, and we see that time and time again. I do think he's going to be able to come on strong. I don't think it's going to be a big separation from him coming in second or third. But I do think Kishane Thompson's going to get out great. He's going to finish very strong. He's going to get out in front of everybody and just be able to hold on to the win. Even though Oblique Seville are going to be coming in hot, we're going to see Noah Lyles coming in really fast. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Darnell Hughes coming in very hot there at the end to try to be able to push that final. But to me, that's going to be the prediction. It's tough to be able to say 100%, but I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking. I know being from USA, there's kind of a thought of being able to say, got to stick with the U.S. and go with Noah Lyles. I would love to see Kenny Bednarek do great. I think he's going to do much better in the 200 than he will the 100, even though he's been having a great season in the 100. We just haven't seen him be able to perform at the highest levels yet. We saw in the finals last year, ran 9.88, came second to last. And to me, he really was in last. Oblique Seville just kind of really was frustrated with where he was at and let up a lot at the end. And so that was the main difference there. But I do think that while Kenny Bednarek, he'll probably do really good in the heats, he'll probably do really good in the semifinals. I just don't think he's going to be able to go and pull out a huge upset win here in the finals. I think it's going to be really who's been winning the whole time. I mean, it's not something that is going to be super surprising with Kishane Thompson when he wins, but I think the time is going to be what's surprising, which is going to be, to me, 9.6s. Hopefully there's a little bit of, a little bit more wins so he can maybe get into mid 9.6s, which would be really, really cool to see. We haven't seen that for, 10 years or so at this point, probably even more than that. But yeah, we want to be able to see a great race, and would love to hear what you guys have to say down below. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or recommendations, you can leave those down below, and we'll talk to you soon.